So in this video, I'll be illustrating with an example about the combinators I talked about in the last keynote presentation. So let me show you how these things would work in practice. And my recommendation is write your own code. Don't grab a list and memorize it. Just as long when you deal with these enough, they'll become second nature to you. Anyways, let me write our example. So let's create a divider and give it an ID of A. And inside of this A divider, add a divider and give this divider an ID of B. And inside of B, add a divider and give this divider an ID of C. And outside of B and besides A, create a divider and give it an ID of D. And inside of D, add a divider and give it an ID of E. So inside of D, there is an E divider. And inside of E, let's add a divider and give it an ID of F. And lastly, outside of both these dividers, besides D, let's add an input tag and give this input tag a type of text, value text, and let's create another input and give it a type of password. Okay, so let's add the CSS, and then you look over the CSS and see which CSS affects which element. I do recommend you look this over a few times. So for the A, I'd set the border to one solid black. Height, let's set it to 200 pixels. Width, let's set it to 200 pixels. Under that, let's first write a space divider, and let's set the things that fall into this category. Let's give them a border of 10 pixels, solid green. So for B, let's set the background color to blue. Let's set the height to 100 pixels. Let's set the width to 100 pixels. For C, let's set the background color to purple. Let's set the height to 50 pixels. Set the width to 50 pixels. Let's say D. We'll set the border to 1 pixel dotted red. Let's set the height to 200 pixels. Let's set the width to 200 pixels. And for E, let's set the background of E to yellow. Set the height to 100 pixels. Set the width to 100 pixels. Let's write another thing called D is greater than divider. And for this, let's set a border into 5 pixels dotted black. Let's for F, let's say, write something similar to background color. Write something similar to C. I don't know. Let's give the color gold. Let's set a height of 50. Let's set a width of 50. And let's finally write the CSS for input. Okay, so input, let's say we want to decorate all inputs with attribute of type equal to text, and let's say I want the background color to be green. Okay, so add a break tag here just to separate them. Anyways, have a look at how this will look in our browser. See, it's hard to point exactly which one, but just look at the previous code and look at which corresponds to what. Have you noticed though the dotted border does not affect the smallest divider here, but this divider here has a solid border. This does not have a dotted border around itself. And also, I set all input with type of text to have background color of green. So the ones that have type text do, the ones that are password do not. So just review this a few times, it'll become obvious to you. And like I said, work with it enough and it will sink into you. Anyways, that about wraps up our video. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, please let me know and I'll see you next time.